What's going on, guys? It's Sunday, and of course that means it is time for some Toychanic repairs. Yeah, we got some crazy ones today. Big old shout out to my awesome patrons. I'm out there. You saw at the beginning there. Um, Today, actually, this is for one of my patrons who's in the chat right now. Owen Herman, what's up, Owen? Thank you for the patronage, for the friendship, for the support, and for your trust in some very expensive figures. this this is a tragedy. I hate seeing this. I missed out on this figure. This is my favorite version of Wolverine. Unfortunately, when my mother was in the hospital, right before we ended up losing her, this actually was up for pre-order, oddly enough, and I missed it. So it just goes to show priorities, guys. Priorities in your life. Sometimes you got to miss out on a figure for the important things in life. However, so this figure, I don't know. It's funny. I always think about that every time I see this figure now. So I don't know why that sticks out, but not trying to bring the day down. Just something that kind of sentimental. It's kind of a bad feeling, good feeling, but good memories. You know, memories are memories. So, man. Oh, and there's a lot going on here. We got some schmutz on here. We got a little bit of paint rub you were telling me about. Damn, I hate seeing that. We might be able to fix something like that. I'll take a look at that later. I know you said not to worry about it, but we're gonna focus on the We're gonna focus on the main issue today, and that's this big old locked up peg with super glue. What's up, Esteban Barazza, one of my main men, my Nacho. He's one of my amazing patrons as well. Thank you for being in here, my man. It's always a pleasure. Always. Our very own Wolverine. Oh, yeah, speaking of this Wolverine, Esteban is basically our pick for the next Wolverine in the MCU. So Disney, hit him up. That's what we need. We need the Barazza. We need it. Okay. Let's get started on this. This is going to be an interesting one because this is locked up with some super glue, and it's so much, actually. It's so much that I think I need to take a photo of this. Boy, we tried to tighten this one up, didn't we, Owen? Whew. I get it. Let's see if I can get my handle stay steady. Jeez. It happens. This is common. Apparently what was going on here, though, is he wasn't happy with the factory tension. Apparently it was very, very loose. And so he went to tighten it up, and it snapped. It's kind of interesting, too, because we see this break a lot on these figures actually straight out of the factory. I think I've only fixed like one Wolverine so far, and it would be this one. This is the one I actually ended up getting. I did get this one, and I remember I bought him, and I was like, man, I'll never have to buy another Wolverine again, unless, of course, they make the brown suit, and this was before we knew they were about to go nuts on that stuff, and, of course, they did make the brown suit, and so, dang it, missed out on that. I haven't painted those wacky blue lines black, because I just did not like those blue lines, so we got a nice clean this. Anyways, I've seen this broke before in the waist. Mine, fortunately, is very fluid right out of the factory, but this guy was a little loose, and Owen went to tighten him, and boy did he. So I'm going to show you how we're going to take care of that today. All right, so oh yeah, and my wife wants to remind everybody, if you haven't already, don't forget to give the video a like, subscribe, comment. We all love the comments. Apparently, I'm really bad about telling people to like the video. Somebody, my buddy Henry, he's one of our, actually one of our admins in the Discord. He's like, you might want to tell people, remind people to like it. He's like, even I forget. So yeah, go ahead and hit that like button, guys. That's where I am now. I'm selling my soul. Don't forget. What's up, Dark G? What's up, man? Glad you're here. Gosh dang, we got a lot of people in here. Old school fan Brian Pena's here. What's up, dude? My man Clayton's in here. He's like, gave it a like before it even started. That's what's up. That's what That's true love right there. Jay's in here said, wanted to deepen the socket for the torso to sit lower on the tiger stripe Mafex. Oh, um, well, good luck. I'm very happy where mine sits right now. I'm sure that could. I'm sure you could do that. I don't know. I think if you did that, what's gonna happen here? So you want the torso to sit lower in, I guess, to the crotch area. If you do that, I imagine you'd have to not just deepen that socket, but you probably have to shave a lot of this off too if you want to keep articulation because it's designed to move around in this specific area. So, yeah. Yeah, Darth G. I switched to Sundays a little while back just because this is way, way, way easier. I work, you know, I work a 9 to 5er. So whenever I get home, it's usually like I'm rushing, and I just don't want to do that anymore. And yeah, Sundays seem to be way more chill on me, way easier. And then after the fact, I usually have Patreon chats that we set up, and it's just us. We'll sit there and we'll just BS for hours sometimes, and just kind of chill out and hang out. So that kind of works out for them as well. So that's really cool. This arm feels like it's like, there we go. Okay, I'm trying to get him in a position to where I can grip this better. So what I do in a situation like this is I take kind of a sharper object. You could use, where's my tiny, dude, I lost like my tiny flathead screwdriver the other day. I went to the little bottom piece. It's a real cheap one that I have, but the bottom piece was coming off of it, much like what happened to this guy right here. And it's got a little piece on it, and I glued it, and then I put it somewhere, and that was the end of that, I guess. This might work as well though, because it's a pretty sharp piece. This tiny little flathead screwdrivers that you can use for glasses and glass repair kits and whatnot and stuff like that. So you can kind of go around the edges here. You got to be careful. You don't want to slip and go cut your finger or something like that, because it can happen. Hell, I cut my pinky this morning on a tag on some pants, some new pants. I tried some pants on, and I was like, yeah, these are nice. And there was a little harder paper tag on it. Cut my pinky pretty good. It's healed up, man, like Wolverine. How about that? So yeah, so this is kind of a process right here, man. There's just a lot of glue here, and you don't want to grab it with a like, if you don't want to try to grab your pliers, grab it with your pliers and twist, because then you're going to end up more than likely breaking it. If you get to a point where you think, you know, you've loosened it up enough, or at least cracked through enough, then you can probably grab it with some pliers, but I wouldn't recommend that. Do not force it. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And recreating this wouldn't be fun for a specific ball joint, trust me. I had to recreate a ball joint, 2 ball joints on a Bardock figure here recently. Oh my gosh, dude, it took me so long. It took me days to fix that stinking thing. The client had twisted both of the bicep, or the shoulder pegs off. We learned about that. I don't know if anybody saw my latest video on here, but you can find out what shoulders and biceps are by watching it. God, what a fun one. I put out a petty little video. But anyways, yeah, I had to fix some shoulder joints off of this Bardock. Both of them broke off, and man, I will say that those things were crazy tight in there. Client didn't do anything really wrong besides forcing them, but even so, I don't know. He would have had to go in from the side and pop them out, and even if he would have put them back in, it would have been too tight. I had to drill the crap out of those things, straight from the factory too. He was extremely patient, extremely kind, and thank you, Francisco. Thank you. You were awesome. If you happen to ever watch one of these, which if you do, cool. So what I'm doing right now is I'm coming in. We'll show you right here. Sometimes this camera works a little bit better. Basically, I am just chipping away around the edges. Esteban, you like that? Yeah, it was pretty petty. But also, you know, it's the internet. So you open yourself up to stuff like that. And if people want to come on and tell you what the most important part of your video should be, well, you got to give the people what they want. So I gave him a little explanation there. It's exactly what they wanted to see. So I gave that to them. Just in case they couldn't imagine it for themselves. I just wanted to make sure. So here we go. Let's see. Oh, Darth G. Yeah, as Owen said, this is his Wolverine. Yep. That's so funny. What the best She-Hulk figure? There are very little She-Hulk figures, asked Brian. Bro, that new if you like the MCU, the Disney Plus She-Hulk, which you should. That figure's gorgeous, man. It looks exactly like her. She doesn't have butterfly joints, but the articulation is decent. She's got the double elbows. You can get her in really good poses. The face looks exactly like her, but she just looks bored. So if we get more faces for her, oh, that'll be super cool. I highly recommend it. She's in a comic suit kind of deal. She does look very realistic. So if you're wanting more of a comic version, the Marvel Legends ones are pretty good. That green one's really cool. So, you know. Let's see, what do we got here? What do we got? Sorry, I'm just kind of going through all the chats here. Gosh dang, you guys are chatty Cathy's today. Clayton says, that's what you get for wearing pants today, bro. I just tried them on, man. Christine told me to try them on, too. I told her it was her fault as a joke, but, I mean, when it comes down to it, she made me try on the pants. Just saying. Yeah, Darth G, you're right. The females in general need Marvel Legends females in general. Let's back that up real quick. Need improvement on their articulation, but we're getting there. That She-Hulk is awesome, man. She's really cool. But some butterfly joints would be great. It would definitely be great. She doesn't have those like ugly elbows like the comic She-Hulk has. Those weird like squared off elbows that ruin that Storm figure that came with Thunderbird. Yeah, remember that 2-pack? I was so excited for that 2-pack, and I got it in. I'm like, well, this Thunderbird is not up to my standards. And then the Storm is nice, but I don't know, man. Those elbows are ugly. They're freaking square. They're jagged, squared, 90-degree squares in her elbows, which doesn't make sense to me. But you know, it is what it is. We'll be getting a Mafex one, but it's the white suit, which is, I mean, it's great if you are collecting only cartoon characters. Sure would be nice if that was in the black suit. Or if Mafex ends up doing Mohawk Storm, let's go. That's such a good, I love that look for her. Probably my favorite. But I do want, like, I just need from Mafex, honestly, I just need the video game characters. And then if they don't get the Dazzler, that's okay. Totally okay. Oh, Dazzler. Oof, what a character. I kind of like her vintage look, though. But her and Jubilee, I'm like, why don't you give these people cool powers? I don't find them very neat. Storm's dope. Colossus is cool. Wolverine's decent. Love me Nightcrawler. Colossus. Just give me the 6 players and be good. And I won't lie, I actually do like that Dazzler outfit, but her powers are so funny to me. Lights. Neat. Yeah, we're gonna give you lights. Okay. That's How's everybody's week? How was everybody's week? I got a pretty nice haul. I won't lie. This yesterday, went to a place. We got a local store. Well, I'd say local. It's not. It's pretty close. About half an hour from me, maybe. And it's called Retro Madness. It's my favorite place to go. It's pretty cool. They're very generous on their store credit prices. And they always have really, really, really cool stuff. Man, I lucked out big time, man. I got a grail piece, actually. Kind of a minor grail, but still a grail. I got this freaking... I got Lucina, man. This Figma Lucina. And she was $70. But I didn't have to spend any money because I had a lot of credit there, so that was cool. And I finally got a quarter scale Ninja Turtle. Donatello was there, so I got him as well. And grabbed a couple of legends for some custom ideas. I grabbed this, what was his, Owen Wilson body, so I could finally put this amazing Casting Cave Clint Eastwood head on this figure. I wanted a brown suit. This is super cool. Oh yeah, dude. Legion's awesome, man. I got another one. So this is my second Legion one. I've got a custom idea for this one. This one just makes me look like I'm going nuts right now. I just needed to pop this head on something while I was working, so I think that was neat. But yeah, I love that Legion figure. He's cool. He's got a big old brushy head. So yeah, this is probably gonna be the process here for a little bit, man. There's a lot of adhesive in here. Man. Yeah, there's a lot. So I'm literally just... What you want to do whenever you're doing this is you want to try to keep the integrity of the peg in place as well. So what I'm doing is going basically in a circular motion, keeping my... Whatever tool you're using, keep it at an angle, using the sharpest edge to kind of cut in at an angle around the ball where it, connects in. So you don't go straight down, because then you don't want to flatten out that. Or this is basically the safest way, I would say, to remove this whenever there's adhesive all over it. Another thing is you have to be very careful is if you're coming in at this angle, like going around the edge right here. I don't think you're going to cause really any paint rub that you're noticing that whenever you put this back on, the belt will cover up anything right here, and so will the little panties here, his underreens. So let's put him over here so I'll just get junk all over him. Mafex needs to make Red Hood and Daredevil. Yeah, they need to make Daredevil. They need to make Daredevil immediately. That's what I want. I didn't even buy that Marvel Legends 3-pack set. I'm not getting roped in to some freaking exclusive 3-pack. I just know if I'm patient, I will get the Daredevil that I want, and I know it's going to be Mafex that makes it. Although it does look cool in the 3-pack, and that Elektra was cool. Her hair sculpt was great. I was very impressed, and I believe I was talking in our group that we've got, and Alex from who was Fan Plastic 4, he said that should have went on Phoenix, and he's right. That hair should be on Phoenix. That Elektra hair would look great on Phoenix. So look for all those customs. All you gotta do is paint that black hair red, and maybe paint her eyes and stuff like that to match up with Jean, but wouldn't be surprised if we see that. Hell, you could even paint her eyes yellow or whatnot and have her all charged up. Gosh dang, this is fun on my hand. Man, this is just... I'm basically just carving the adhesive out of this thing. Yeah, that the Electras is still limited. I mean, it's what you're gonna get from Marvel right now with females. Unfortunately, most of them. I'm glad to see we're getting double elbows in figures. That's really neat. Taskmaster would be really cool too. Yeah, that would be a fun one. Yeah, there Mafex is on their way, man. I'd love to see. I can't wait to see like. I want a Nightcrawler so bad from them and Colossus. Like, that'd be awesome. And I'd love a classic Cyclops. That's my favorite look. I was going through some books the other day. I can't remember what book it was, but they had like it was like the Jim Lee design with the the yellow here on his chest that went down the side, but they had his cap on as well, and it looked really cool. I was like, oh, that looks pretty neat. But I would mod my Mafex to it, but I'm like, I'd rather not. I don't want to mod that. Those are really expensive figures just to go playing around with, in my opinion. I mean, if, to each their own. People buy, they spend their money however they want. Now, I'm all about popping a different head on one of those figures, or like I said, I painted those blue lines black because that made more sense to me. And somebody else might think that I'm nuts for painting those blue lines black on that Wolverine. But honestly, I don't remember owning or seeing any comics with him with those blue lines. I know he was in a few of them. It looked more like the Astonishing, if I'm not mistaken, like color palette. Not the design, but the color palette. And I'm like, yeah, no thanks. It's not the Astonishing suit. But, gosh dang. This is, really in there. Oh, there we go. God dang, that was a big chunk of freaking... big chunk of super glue just came at me. Oh, I think that was it. I think we got this moving. I think we got it moving. Yep. There we go. All right. Cool. So that took just an hour and a half. All right. So now the issue that we run into is the fact that this is not perfectly round anymore due to all of that glue that's on there. When it comes out, it's just got a... you've got this big hole in here now that's full of anomalies, basically because that was, like we said, that adhesive dried in there, and you can't see it from right here. I'm looking at it through this. I wish I could zoom in for you guys, but this guy right here, maybe I could show it to you. Let's see if it'll pop up here for you. You can see it's just not as rounded anymore. It's got it's flat on top. It's got jagged edges and all that stuff. So what we want to do is we're going to take our trusty Dremel. What's up, Samurai Chris? We got another patron in the house. It's awesome, man. Thank you for showing up. I'm glad you're here. What we're going to do now that we've got this peg out is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our Dremel, and I believe this is a 0.8 drill bit. And we're going to see if we can't just go ahead and we're going to start from the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and drill all the way through. Keep it in the center. And let's careful. You don't want to, sometimes you can kind of feel it out with the plastic, but sometimes you got to back out before you go all the way through. It starts building up a bunch of plastic on here. That can stick on there, that can heat it up, and you can make a wider hole than you want it to. You can end up breaking your drill bit. You just want to be real careful with that. So, and since we went in that way, and we're going to be driving our screw actually through the top, now we want to go through the top. We've got basically our groundwork laid for us. That lays a track for us basically, and we know that it's going to come out right where we want it to on the bottom here. Since we already got our Dremel out, we can go ahead and we can Dremel a hole into this guy here. We're going to be putting that in. Keeping that in the center as well. And you want to be careful whenever you do drill into that, as these are drop down hips. If you went in way too far, I think you'd probably hit the back. I think it'd be the right one. Potentially you could hit that, and I don't know. Just be careful whenever you're dremeling into these. All right, so now that we've got this out, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start the process of inserting a screw in here. What I do want to do is drill some more though. I want to get a thicker gauge on my drill, on my bit, because what we don't want to happen here is, I think it happened last time and it was fine, but if we can avoid it, I will. You don't want to crack that peg just because it adds a little more work. We don't want to do more work, we want to do less work. The whole point of this is to fix it and get it posing again. And apparently throwing pliers on the ground. Alright. These are 0.6. What is this one here? This is mystery box. That's fun. Don't know the gauge on these, but we can see what we're working with here. They feel kind of thin. Nope, these are a little too thin. Yeah, I think I need to buy some more 0.8s. Oh, I keep forgetting that I bought these things. Yeah, I bought these little guys here, and these you need a either like one of the smaller key, or you can use this guy right here, which I'm sure you've seen if you've watched any of my streams. This guy right here works super well. Keys in just about anything, any kind of scale and size. Sorry, I had a lot of resin dust in there from dribbling out that dirty hairy head a minute ago. So let's go ahead and, you want to be careful whenever you're putting it in that it lays straight, that it sits in there straight. You don't want it to be, because if it's off center at all, this thing can wobble and make it much worse. But this is the right size. So we're going to go ahead and Dremel into here real fast since we got it. That's good. And what I like to do is I grip my grip the peg here. These pliers that have this divot in them, these are great. It's a lot harder to do if you don't have that divot, I'll tell you that much right now. Alright. What I'm doing right there is I'll grip the piece of plastic. Sometimes this, like I said, that plastic melts. I don't know if this will show up or not, but there's a little yellow piece right there. You see that yellow? That's from the peg itself. And what I'll do is I'll grip it with my fingernails, and I'll do that, and it'll fall on your keyboard. It'll come out though. You can get that out that way. Allows you to back it up and just free the threading here. This is what I do a lot, man. I like to go in with a smaller drill bit, and then I'll go in with a bigger one. The smaller one just allows me to make sure that everything's centered, and that lays a track for you. And then you can put in your bigger drill bit, your bigger gauge, and it'll follow through the way you needed it to. So that's always good. So let's grip this. Now that we've got our holes in here, and we're going to test the screw. This is good. Like I said, you should always be able to put it in with your hand, bare hand. Not have to use pliers to grip all the way. That's never something you want to have to do. That just means that you're going to have too much tension. You could risk breaking the screw off in there too, which sucks. So this is how it goes. Let's see. Brian Pena says a movie Nightcrawler would be cool, and I hope they do Cyclops right in the MCU, the best X-Men. Yeah, I don't need any of the movie Nightcrawlers. I guess I could take that, what's his name? The kid from The Road. I guess. I don't know, man. I'd rather just wait and see something new. Alan Cummings is a great actor and all, but man, I don't know. That Nightcrawler was Fox. It was Fox. That's what it was. It was the Fox Nightcrawler. That's what it was. But what's up, Eric Harker, man? Haven't seen you in a bit. welcome in. I hope you're enjoying your Sunday. So what we've done here, like I said, is we've drilled all the way through. I'm going to go ahead and snap a photo of this one as well. Just kind of following along the process here. And so I'm testing the screw in here. It's gone through exactly how I'd want. And so what I do a lot of times is now I'll kind of put it on through the bottom. And this allows me now to start shaving off this this adhesive, right? So we can go in with our Dremel, like our sanding bit, kind of lightly go around, and you can see just these areas where there's so much on there that it's actually flat on the top because it pooled around, and when it dried, we lost that perfect sphere, which can cause actually a lot more problems. So now we have to go in and create basically a more perfect sphere, because any anomaly in these sphere pegs can actually really hurt the articulation. Sometimes it'll be really tight on one side, and then you'll turn it and it'll either pop out, or it'll be really loose on one side. The worst is when they pop out, though, whenever you're trying to turn it and it pops. These are a little easier for some reason than bicep pegs. I find it's maybe it's because they only go really left and right, and you don't have to turn anything up or down with them. It's essentially a swivel. I know they've been forward a bit, but it can still happen. It can definitely still happen with them. And you want to look at this from all angles whenever you're doing this. Look at it from straight above to see if it looks circular there. Go all the way around it. I'm going to look at it from this angle, from that angle. I can see that there's a flat chunk of whatever right there. Most of it actually has this brown plastic attached to it due to the adhesive gripping on. So, and what might happen here is once you've got this thing all cleaned up, whenever you try to pop it back in, it might end up too loose, and basically you'll have to recreate the whole thing that got you here in the first place. But I'm assuming when you do that, you're going to be a little more careful, you know, if you're the one doing the repair. Yeah, we want to make sure that this part right here is going to pop in, but also not pop out. So you want to be careful. You don't want to make this into an oval, or excuse me, like a rectangular shape or whatever, or an oval. You don't want that either. But you also kind of got to go in from the bottom here where it pulled up and try to round this baby out. That's looking pretty decent. Another thing we want to do now is we want to take, let's see, I probably won't actually need this again. We'll take a bigger burr bit, like so, and we're going to put this in here. Key it in. Give me a second. There we go. I like to give myself a little bit of room here as well, whenever you're going down, to put this in here so this doesn't touch any of the plastic. I'll usually put this on a lower speed whenever I'm doing this. This is just to clean out any of that excess. All right. Now let's see if this will pop in. Hey, my man Chrisman's in here. Dang, dude. We got like almost every patron in here for the Patreon. Okay, so when we pop this in, you can see that it's not really popping in at this point. It's just kind of sitting in there. And so what we'll need to do is we'll need to Dremel in a little bit, kind of get rid of anything that might have pulled up in there. And I'm just kind of testing it. What'll happen, more than likely what'll happen is whenever I put this screw back in here, it might give us some kind of spread on that plastic, but chances are what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to basically recreate what this was intended to do in the first place. And so, like I said, we're gonna have to add some glue and basically retighten it. Go ahead and make sure that's nice and rounded out. There we go. Let's see if it's feeling pretty good in there, I'd say. Just want to make sure that it might need to be a little more angled here. It's looking a little bulby at the top. And you want the widest part of this obviously to be in the center. Let's go ahead and make sure. And this is what like I said, I had to do this with a Bardock not too long ago. I had to basically recreate the shape. And then I had to go in like a couple more times because I wasn't happy with the tension. You know, the whole thing is you want to make sure that it's got good tension, but you also want to make sure that, you know, it's got a fluid bend to it with that tension, but also you don't want you don't want it to twist off your repair. You know, it's just not what you want. So here's what we're going to do. It's kind of I'm trying to think about this a little bit better here. What I want to do is part of me wants to attempt this with this on here, but I'm going to just do it the way I know. I don't want to try anything different right now, especially with this figure. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grip our screw here. I'm going to straighten her out because we want this to go all the way through. Let's see. And then what I usually like to do is here at the end, I like to kind of bend the edge so it gives me a way to grip. You guys see me do this 1,000 times. If you've been watching, if you're new, this is something I've done 1,000 times. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start putting this. Actually, I'm going to make sure that's a little more straight. It looks like it's bent slightly right there. Let's grip this. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but it'd be nice not to have that little crazy bend in there. All right, so what I usually will do is I'll just start just a little bit, like kind of going, inserting the screw and grip it with some pliers here. Let's move this out of the way. I'm going to take some JB Super Weld here. I'm going to go ahead and move this out a little bit. We're going to go ahead and lace the exposed threading and a little bit of the screw itself right there. Okay. And now this is where I like to have two of these now. I grip this, and you could do this side right here with needle nose if you wanted to. And remember earlier I said it's nice whenever you do this, whenever you can do it with your bare hands. That's for the testing phase. When it comes to the actual inserting this in, once it's been laced with, you know, adhesive, it's a real good idea to go ahead and keep a good grip on here with a pair of pliers, and then to also twist with pliers, just because it's easier on your hands and it's going to be less slip and slide on there. And it's just a better way to grip. It's a more secure grip, and like I said, it's easier on your hands, and I can't stress that enough. Okay, so that's good. We got plenty of this sticking out here of our threading. That's about how far we need to go in as well. Just to make sure. Yeah, that looks good. And so what we can do is before we actually insert this, let me grab a paper towel. Let's grab little strips of paper towel, and wipe off any of this excess here. And that's why, like I said, whenever I laced that with glue a minute ago, you know, it pushes it. It's gonna adhere inside, and it also will kind of pull up here at the top. Just gives you a more secure end on that, because this is basically this is the smooth side. I see a lot of people try to repair stuff like this with just with a nail. They'll do like a nail or a pin or anything like that. It won't work. I have seen so many people like swear that it works. It does. It'll stay, but if you bend it, it's just smooth. It's smooth on PVC plastic. No matter how much super glue you put on there, it's gonna bend. It's gonna bend. I would bet anything. I would bet anything that will never work. It just will not stay properly. Not if it's got a twist in it. If you like try to twist that on an arm, you're like, oh yeah, it still twists. I'm like, yeah, but pull it out and twist. It'll slide right off of that. So don't use nails. This is why I use screws like this. It's going to give you threading. It's going to give you that extra grip. It's not saying that this is always 100%, but if done properly, this will always work. A nail is never going to stay. I promise you, it's never going to stay. Not if you bend it. Now, if you just like a statue or something, maybe that could potentially work, because they do have wire inside them. But if you're wanting something like this, that's going to be under articulation and movement and pressure and whatnot, and constant play or posing, you got to use a screw. And that's just I would die on that hill, put it that way. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to lace this with a good healthy helping of some JB Super Weld. I love this stuff. This stuff, it's better if you let it sit honestly for a while. It's a hell of a hold. It just takes longer. And honestly, when it comes to these repairs, I don't think you should be impatient. A lot of times that's why you're repairing something. Generally, is, you know, either something went wrong, obviously, along the way. Sometimes there's factory issues, but you know, you go too fast, or you put too much on there, and it's just one of those things where it happens. I'm not saying you're wrong for doing it. I'm not saying you're dumb for doing it. It happens to all of us. But once you do get to that repair stage, it's good to take your time. Okay, so what I've done here is reattach the peg, which is looking really, really nice. This is actually a nice clean break. It wasn't angular, which, God, those suck. But this looks really good. This looks really good. What I can do right now is go ahead and we're going to close off our super glue first off. Let's do that. We're going to take these, I've got these bigger wire cutters, or they're like small cable cutters. And I use these for these thicker screws, because these are pretty tough screws, man. I won't lie. These are really good. But they're hard to cut. And unfortunately, that's as close as it gets. You're always going to have this little, see that little hook piece right there? You're always going to have that. And so what we got to do after that is we either got to sand it down or cut it and then sand it down. You always have to do that. So let's go and get that done. You want to be careful though with these, because these are very strong. They're strong screws, so it actually takes a little bit more to sand them down. And what can happen here is, if you're constantly sanding on this, it's building up heat and friction. And what that can do is it can actually melt your plastic. So you have to be very careful. If it's just not working, it's like sometimes it's better to work in small little shifts. Or you could take like these end clippers, like these guys right here, and you might be able to get a little bit more of it clipped off. And what I like to do generally is, whenever I'm doing that, I take a plastic bag, a little Ziploc bag, and put whatever I'm clipping inside of here. This way I'm not risking it flying off, clipping, hit me in the eye, or just losing it. You know, it doesn't hurt to be a little more tidy. Although I don't know if I'm going to be able to get any more of this one. I cut this one fairly close, I guess. It seems like it's like kind of... Yeah, I think I got some of it off of there. You can see it's still kind of... Still kind of got that edge. Okay, so what I like to do in this case is I don't like using my little Dremel really to do this. On the smaller ones, I don't mind. On the smaller screws. But I use this big guy right here. Just because it seems to... It works way faster. Just because it's got a stronger motor in it. And I don't have to worry about it really heating up too much. So what we're going to do is just kind of do this really quickly here. I want to just smooth it out. And a lot of times I go in at a sawing motion. So you'll see me going like that, and it seems to help like with the grain and on that screw. It seems to do it a little faster because the longer you're sitting there on it, the longer it's heating up, the more it's getting hot and it wants to melt your plastic. We'll just keep going until we kind of hit the plastic. Let's see what we got here. Getting closer, getting smoother. Like I said, I like to hit the plastic. That way I know we're not going to catch that metal on anything. So be very careful when you're doing this. You don't want to slip or have this thing like fall off the side, and you don't want it to chew up your that soft plastic that's on there. And now you can see here that way smoother, smooth to the touch, which is great. You don't want a little jagged piece in there. I mean, think about it. If you put a ball with a piece of whatever on there, it's going to jag against that wall, that edge. What I want to do right now, though, is I kind of want to let this sit for a bit. We can test right now just to see if this might have given it any extra, I guess, girth or gauge or whatever you want to call it, width. And let's see. So yeah, so this is it right now. Technically it would stay, but it's very light in there. So we're going to have to basically recreate the hold. I'm very happy though that it does this. Like it will stay on, and that's good. So that means just from that little bit of, that means that what we have is a good hold in the centerpiece. And that's what we want, right where that, you've got your circle right here in the center. That's really where it catches, you know, that's where it's going to catch and allows it to roll around in there. So there's this bottom piece, but that main, that center is really that's our sweet spot. And that's generally where I like to tell people to put their adhesive. Sometimes you can do like an even layer around it, but a lot of times if you go from like the center and just slightly down, it's gonna, when it goes in, it pops and it can't really get back out. And that's what's gonna cause that to be a nice tighter hold. But yeah, we can, what I can do right now, since we're gonna need to put some glue on there anyway, and I could feel that this is, you know, just a little smaller. This isn't really the time to cover it in an adhesive, put it in, and then try to do that super glue trick as it dries and tightens. You don't want to do that because right now we're waiting on this screw to tighten. You know what I mean? And it's not the time to really play around with something along those lines. What I do is I'll bring some glue in. I like to kind of put it over the top like so. So it kind of covers where that screw was. And then I'll do a bit around. I know I was talking about just now, like I like to go from the bottom, but that's if it was just straight from the factory. We're dealing with kind of you know, something that we've had to fix here. So we're having to basically recreate this shape. And what I'll do also is I'll run some adhesive kind of down the basically the peg shaft essentially. And what that'll do kind of just creates this whole, I don't know, like an armor for it almost, you know, like a thin kind of layer of armor. And that just kind of helps, in my opinion, like kind of maintain a better hold. If there was any kind of seams or something like that, maybe on the outside where the peg the head is meeting the peg shaft there, it's a great time to kind of just put a good amount, just a nice little layer around, and you can just evenly distribute it. You don't have to coat it, like cover it like with a ton, but just like, put a nice even layer around, and then kind of spread it so it just gives you nice even distribution. Gets into those like kind of seams right there, so that way you're like super gluing basically the inside from when we put the screw on, and it touched the plastic, and those plastic sandwiches into each other, and you've got that nice like hold right there. But also putting super glue on the outside gives you, like I said, just that extra layer. You know what I mean? It's like a Snickers. It's the chocolate on the Snickers, man. Holds all that stuff in there. I mean, all that stuff's gonna hold itself together, right? You got nougat, caramel, peanuts. All that stuff's gonna hold together. It's great. But in this, you got a screw, plastic, and then some super glue. So the super glue, it's kind of like chocolate. Take it for what it's worth. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and spread that around a little bit, and we're going to, what I also like to do is kind of like on the top, I kind of like to brush it down from the top. So the top, you don't want the top to be real bulbous like a light bulb, you know what I mean? It's almost like you'd rather it be upside down like a light bulb, to pop in. So let's go ahead and just make sure that, there's not a lot on the top, kind of spread it closer down to the bottom there. And if you want, you can do this. It's not risky, but what I like to do sometimes is, since there is such a gap that we're gonna have to fill now, you can real quick put this in the way it's supposed to, twist, and pop it out. That was real quick. Don't leave it in there longer than that. What that does is kind of coats the inside of this a little bit too, and that way there's not, just in case you got a little too much on this, which you shouldn't have if you were very using it sparingly, like I instructed. If you followed my instructions, it should work on this one. I'm not saying I'm the end all be all, but I've done this a lot to the point where I feel comfortable telling you I know what I'm doing. So what we have to do now is let that glue dry. Unfortunately, that's kind of how that works. Sometimes it's just you gotta let that stuff dry, and then you go back in and you reshape, and that does all that stuff. Casting Cave, I'll tell you what that does for the greater good. You feeling lucky today, huh? Oh, you feeling blurry, I guess. Gosh, look at it. Look at his beauty. Hey, punk. Don't try to tighten up those. Oh, you know what's funny? He kind of sounds like Wolverine. Oh, just in case anybody's ever wondered. Oh man, I got rid of the Mafex peg in there because I wanted it on this this Legends body, but now I want to see, like, this is the Wolverine we deserved. Hey punk, you feeling lucky? Tell Cyclops I made him a convertible. Yeah. Just in case you guys were ever wondering what Clint Eastwood would look like as Wolverine, you just saw it. You saw it here first. As good as confirmed, Clint Eastwood's going to be Wolverine in the MCU. You're welcome. You guys didn't know I was on the inside like that? Welcome to the biz. Welcome to the biz, guys. Okay, so, oh man, that actually lasted a lot longer than I expected. We can kind of get started on this guy, I guess. This is oh yeah, Owen told me about this. He said there might be some kind of tacky stuff in here. He's like, if it seems gross, it's just like this like kind of wax stuff, so it's nothing like nasty. He gave me a warning, which is awesome. Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, because actually I want to be careful with that. I'm glad you gave me that warning. I mean, I generally will, obviously I'll see something like that in there, and you never know if it's like just grime or dirt, or did somebody kind of use some sort of adhesive or whatnot. But it's good to know this because I'm gonna have to heat this piece up to get it out. And so if there's wax and I'm heating that up and I didn't know about it, that could be awful. Um, I'm pretty sure I know exactly what I'm going to do on this repair. This is the same way these break on. I've seen a lot of knees break like this on Mafex figures specifically. So a lot of the comic cell shaded looking Spider-Man, and then one Gambit. I fixed that. I can't remember if it was elbows or if it was knees on a Batman. I think it was elbows, but I'm not sure. Could have been knees. Actually, no, it was knees. So I'm going to heat this up. You got to be careful. This is very, very, very small plastic, meaning it's very thin, meaning it's susceptible to melting, which is something we don't want it to do. So I'm going to come in from the side here with my pliers, if I can grip it under this plastic. Kind of, there we go, pull straight out. A little twist is okay, not too much. Okay, god dang, this is a tiny, what are we looking at here? This is a 1/4 of an inch long. So you can see here where the peg, there's a little white, even in the blurry depths, you can see that white piece. What we got to do there is we've got to pop that peg out. I'm pretty sure I can't reuse that peg. We can try it. What I generally have to do in a situation like this is I have to make a new one. Basically, I'll have to put what I'll do is I'll screw into a piece of plastic that's similar color, so a piece of white plastic, but chances are it's going to end up just exposing the screw whenever I get to the bottom of it. So here we go. We're gonna trying to. I guess what happened here is it feels like it was like stuck, like because this peg won't pop out anyway. I mean, obviously it's not supposed to come out this way, but sometimes whenever they break, you can pop them out. Oh, this is double broken. Oh, dude. Oh, man. I didn't realize it's double broke. Shoot. Okay, so we have to do this twice. Oh, man. I thought this was just one piece broke. I'm sure Owen told me about this. I just forgot. Yay. So we just have to do whatever it is we're going to do twice. This is a pretty small procedure. It's very tiny. God, it's hitting my wrist. So this is really odd, but this piece right here, you're lucky this piece didn't break. If this piece would have broke, that would have really sucked. So this is what usually breaks on a lot of these Mafex figures. Generally, whenever I see it, this is in the elbow, and just like this. But it's usually this thing that breaks. I see this break on Superman and Carnage, but usually it's because of the pop rivets that are in there. And this one just looks like, I don't know. I guess these white pieces just kind of broke. So, geez, look how tiny this is. So what I have to do in a situation like this is I usually have to drill all the way through the elbow, like the piece right here. It's so tiny, but basically it looks like a figure 8 here, and you drill a hole here, and you'll put the screw in. With generally it'll be encased in some plastic, and you have to shave it down. But the cool thing is, if you drill through this other side, you'll never see it because you can see here it's covered up, which is pretty cool. So kind of a nice, since these are so tight together, you never see where that comes out, so that's pretty cool. And then what will happen here once we do that is this has to go back through the arm like so. You'll heat this up, and then you'll need to heat this up as well, so it actually pops in right. Because what happens is this hard plastic piece right here has got to go all the way into this arm, out the other side, into this soft piece, and then into a harder piece that's actually on the inside here. And what happens whenever you heat this up and you heat this up, it allows just a little bit of push for it to pop in the way you want it to. I don't think this is going to have the same issue as the Superman and stuff. The issue with the Superman is generally the peg is just a little too short. So you have to heat that plastic stuff up in order to pop it in the correct way, usually. But this is going to be a little bit of a crazier one. It is 3 o'clock now, though, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get to this guy today, so that sucks. But I am going to go over into the Patreon chat after this, and I'm going to probably continue this there because one of my patrons, this is for him. And so I can actually go in there and do that if you're available. If not, no worries. What I might actually end up doing as well is shooting a tutorial on this, since I've got all the pieces out right now, and I can show, I don't know, just it'll be good for content more than likely. But yeah, I yeah, I think he said it's the first double break I've seen. I think this is definitely the first Gwen I've seen broken, which is kind of crazy. But anyways, I'm going to move on over to the Discord chat, Patreon chat. I believe that is where we'll stop today. We did get this to the point where I'm pretty happy with this. Like I said, it takes a while for JB Super Weld to dry completely. You just want to be smart about it. You don't want it to, break the hold or whatnot. And so we got to wait a little bit on that. It is reattached really well. I'm happy with that. But the fact that we had to Dremel so much in means we have to add a bit more. So 9th Archer Innovations. The next show should be next Sunday at 2 o'clock. That's what I'm trying to shoot for these days, is the Sunday time of 2 o'clock. It's really nice. It's easier on me. And a lot of the patrons are able to hop in afterward. They're able to watch the show, and they're able to hop in after the show and talk in the Patreon Discord, which has been really, really cool. A lot of really cool people in there. I think everybody in there does some sort of custom work or whatnot, or at least the majority of the people do. It's really cool to see that. So it's just really cool. It's just a good group of people and whatnot. So you can always join the Discord if you'd like. We have a Discord, the Toychanic Discord, which I'm pretty sure... oh, you're welcome, Chrisman. Chrisman's one of my patrons. He's a really good friend. He's just one of those awesome guys, and I think it's really cool that they do it. Man, it's really cool to see the patrons hop in and join the Discord and just enjoy it. We have a really good time in there. We always crack up and we learn from each other, and it's just kind of cool. I don't know, man. It's just a positive environment, something that seems to be kind of rare these days. So I'm going to go ahead and for whoever's in here right now, if you would like to join the Discord, I will put the link right here in the chat. This is going to be good for 7 days, it says. We've kind of got to watch the Discord. We actually had to kick some people out not too long ago. It was our first time to kick people out. It made me very sad. But they were not good for the Discord. So we do give warnings most of the time. But if you're being a jerk, then you gotta go. We don't like that. We don't like that. But yeah. All right. I've rambled on enough. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, 9th Archer. Appreciate that. For the patrons, I will see you in the Discord, Patreon, video chat coming right up. So, I'll see you guys next time. As always, take care of each other, and the impossible takes just a little longer. And sometimes that means in the Discord chat. See y'all later.